Welcome back to the show. We are extremely happy to be joined by our next guest. He has probably the most popular comedic podcast around, millions of downloads, and of course he's an extremely popular comic in his own right. Marc Maron joining us now. How are you, man?
Thanks for having me.
No worries.
I'm great. The weather no good.
Yeah.
But you got a nice shot of a crane, and it's good. Nice,
whenever I listen to your stuff, you assess things quite, like when you go into a city, you really sort of take a broad stroke of the city and then go from there.
Yeah, it's always good to piss people off right when you get to a place and then kind of work back from that, I find.
Right.
Throw a couple things out there. No, I mean...
get them angry, win them back.
Yeah, it's a little dynamic I call Dad. But I've been here before. I know what I like to do here for the most part.
Yeah.
I like to eat sushi, and then I like to walk around. And you know, I thought I had more of a list, but that's about it.
Well, the first thing on your Twitter feed was a picture of sushi. It was like sashimi on the table. It just hit, and away we go.
Sushi and Tim Hortons coffee. I don't know why, but because I'm proud that I drink it black, which seems unusual to people in Vancouver.
Just the fact that you drink Tim Hortons coffee is impressive to most people in Vancouver.
Really? But I mean, I drink Dunkin' Donuts coffee in the States. It's like crack. I mean, there's good coffee, and then there's coffee that'll get you high.
Right.
And I was hoping Tim's would do that. It seems to.
Oh, okay, good.
But then someone tweeted, like, I hear there's less caffeine, and I'm like, really? Or are you just trying to get me to drink more so I lose it at a show? And then someone said that there's an urban myth that they put nicotine on the actual, you know, that there's...
on the rim?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
But you
so now I just started more
why do people always want to, like, take something that you love and kind of chip away at it? You know what I mean? There's this human tendency to, if someone professes love for something, everyone automatically feels like it's the rule to have to start, you know.
Sure. It's how they feel good about themselves. Yeah, it's called misery loves company. And everyone was telling me to roll up the lid, so I did that, and it said, you don't live here, this isn't for you, which was weird.
You can't win as you go. Tell us about the podcast, and for people that know it, you know, all good in the hood, but for people that don't, how did this whole thing get started for you? Was it a natural extension from the radio experience for you into...
Well, I think really it came out of complete desperation. My career was in the toilet, and I was just getting through a divorce, and I'd been fired from a radio job for the third time at the same station. That's how stupid I was. I went back 3 times.
I've done that at one station twice. This one. So.
Well, you know, then all of a sudden they get new management. They're like, hey, we want to rethink this. And I'm like, how much money? Can we pay off my ex-wife? Okay. So I did that, and it was really just being up against the wall and knowing that other people were doing podcasts. I didn't really listen to them, but I thought I was good on that in that format, so I started doing it, and then it really started to take off a bit. We did the first few we kind of broke into the studios because they fired us.
At the place that you've been fired at?
Yeah, because they didn't take our security cards away. They weren't a smart radio station. They were like, you guys can keep your office and your cards throughout your contract. And we're like, great. So after hours, we knew the night tech guy, and we just got in and did the first few.
How long
like
did that last for?
We did about 10 episodes like that, bringing guests up in the freight elevator. We get texts like, I'm here. All right, we'll come down. Just look out for us.
And when did you have to move yourself to your garage? Because that's where you do them now.
Well, that was in New York where I started. Then I live in L.A., but I had been renting my house out, and then when I went back to LA, I always had a dream to be a guy that worked in a garage. I just never knew that it would be on microphones. So I actually have this weird old garage. My house is very old, and there's a workbench in there that looks like it's been there since the house was built. You know, it's all chipped up. There's like anvil marks on it. Some man did men's work on there.
A little pile of coal in the corner.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where I put my printer. So I think I'm still doing man's work out there. But I set up out there, and I got some good mics, and that's really all it takes.
But it's pretty cool that this has become, I mean, you know, if someone had said that being invited to, you know, a professed cat herder's garage to do a radio show would be taken as like one of the highest compliments in...
Yeah, it's a bizarre thing, and I think I should explain cat herder. You just kind of dropped it out there so people were watching like, what does that mean? He's a cat
He's got
herder.
a lot of cats.
You like cats.
Yeah, cats seem to, I have a few of my own, and then a few hang out, but my relationship with the strays is different.
Do you like cats, or do cats like you, or is it...
Look, it was out of weird, like I was in Astoria, these cats, like 5 or 6 of them were eating out of the garbage, and I would go out there in the middle of the night to put my garbage out because I was getting up early for radio, and I kept thinking, you know, someone's got to deal with this. And that happened 2 or 3 times, and I realized, like, I'm the
guy that's gonna
So I trapped them in shoe boxes, and I brought them into my house, into the apartment. But I did not know that if a cat is eating on its own, it's already wild. It's over. You can't, you know, there's no like, I'm your parent thing. It was like bringing wild ferrets into my house. And immediately they all dispersed. They
started spraying.
No, they were vicious, and you couldn't touch them, and 2 of them went behind my stove, and for days they were just like, one of them tried to jump out of a 2-story window and climbed up the window and wedged itself between the window.
Bianca's scared of cats, so this is her nightmare that you've been living.
I would lock myself in my bedroom.
It was horrible. Then I couldn't get them out. You know, I was just trying to be a good guy, and I was like, this isn't working out. Because in my mind, like, all I wanted was friends, and these things didn't even have anything to do with me.
But Mark, this is a beautiful metaphor for what happens in life sometimes.
Sure, that is my life. That's all my relationships. Come on, just live here. Can't you be nice to me? But no, I still have 2 of those original cats, and then there's one that I got later, and then there's a couple of strays who I have a little drama with, but it's all right. But yeah, people come to my garage.
The Cat Herder's Garage to do a show, and I said when I first met you, you know, first of all, I blew a little sunshine and said how much I enjoy it, because I really do, because you have such wonderful conversations with people that are insightful and they're funny, and you know, they're just such a joy to listen to. And I assume that you're probably maniacally researching before you talk to people.
I don't really. I mean, I know kind of a lot of the people, but there's people I've known for 20 years in comedy that I've never really had a conversation with. Most people don't have conversations for an hour anymore. There was a time when I was younger and I had absolutely nothing to do. I would call people to run errands with me just so I'd have someone to talk to. And those are really the best times of my life, just hanging out with people. And a lot of times I'll do a little bit of research just on Wiki or something just to get a sense of where they come from. But I don't know. I don't do the research because I don't want to interview like that, really. Now, I just want to make organic conversation. Like when Norm Macdonald came over, I had met him maybe once or twice, but I really had no idea whether he could have a regular conversation. So my panic is usually, like I got Stephen Wright coming to my garage. I'm like, does he talk?
Yeah, that's right.
Because I want to sit for an hour and talk, and I'm going to sit for an hour no matter what, and I just don't know what's going to happen. And generally, without doing the interview thing, you'll get to conversation. Eventually. It may take 10 minutes, it may take 20, but we got an hour. So
is there ever any sense of panic from you? I mean, when you get people in there and maybe it's not starting out the way you want it or whatever, do you come into it with preconceptions, or you just...
A lot of times I have the preconceptions that anybody who is a fan of that person would have. Because a lot of times I know the person as a public personality. So I assume that they're kind of like that. I mean, I had John Hamm in there, and I can't separate him from Don Draper. Could you? I mean, he's sitting there, and in my brain, I'm like, Don Draper's in my garage. And I told
Here's another cigarette.
Right.
I don't smoke.
Can I get you a drink? But I couldn't. It was very hard for me to separate that, and I told him about it. But as it went on, you know, he's just a dude, and we hung out. And the same with Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad. I mean, I love that character so much.
An incredible character.
Walter White's an incredible. But I'm like, in my mind, I was like, Walter White's coming to my garage. I'm going to learn some stuff, you know. So I couldn't really separate him from Walter White, but he had hair, and he's a real pro. So you know, he got right.
He knew it.
Yeah, it was good.
When people come to WTF Live, which you're doing tonight, is it similar kind of format? I mean, you know most of these guys, right? That are WTF Live.
A couple. I know. I know Dave and Bob for years, and John Ennis, who was also on Mr. Show, I've known for years. Josie Long, I don't know that well. Neil Brennan, I know a bit. It's a little contentious with me and Neil, so that should be interesting.
You guys have some things to hash out.
Yes, always with him. I have things to hash out. He's a very funny. Well, he's a very funny guy. I've known him a long time. He's the you know, the co-creator of the Chappelle Show. And he's a stand-up, and his brother's a stand-up. And I've known him since he was a kid. Like he used to be a doorman at a comedy club in New York, and when he was like 15. So he still insists that I hold him to that. Like,
right. I don't. You haven't let him grow.
Right. So there's always this weird, you know, I'm a man now, you know, kind of vibe.
That's right. Let me grow up.
But the live ones are really panel shows. I do them more for the audience, and we get funny people out in front of an audience. Whereas, you know, the garage is very intimate. It can get kind of intense on the live ones, but usually it's just to have fun and get everybody out there and being funny.
Well, I can't say enough about the podcast and the whole show. I just absolutely love it as someone who just enjoys listening to great conversations.
Well, I appreciate it. This was a good talk in and of itself.
And your Friday show is sold out.
The live WTF is sold out. Yeah.
There are still tickets.
But there are still some tickets for the closing finale as well. Tonight, of course, he's got a bunch of friends with him. Everything else, we mentioned the names. And the closing gala with David Cross, Bob Odenkirk, plus Mark, and other handpicked comedians. Still has some tickets left. You can go to comedyfest.com for more info. And you can also check out Mark's podcast, WTFpod.com. We're going to take a break.